You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show. The preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Iron Lady sings, that makes it official. 16 years, 2,000 episodes. In August of 2024, we have been bringing you the Chris Voss Show, and we continue to bring you even more. We'll probably be 3,000 episodes by the end of next year, if not more. We're accelerating at a pace where we do so much more than we used to. Anyway, guys, for the first 10 years that we did. But anyway, guys, for further show to your family, friends, and relatives, go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and all those crazy places you can find us on the internet. There's just crazy places out there, which is kind of weird because there's probably some crazy places we shouldn't claim. There's a lot of crazy on the internet, but that's another thing. Today we have a return of a guest that we just had, I believe, last month. Inam joins us. His book we covered called Whispers of the Flight, A Voyage to Cosmic Unity. We featured on the podcast, so make sure you go back and listen to that episode, if you will. We'll be building some more on his amazing book, his amazing artwork, and his amazing coaching that he takes and does. So be sure to pick that up in his book wherever you can, wherever fine books are sold. Inam, the author, was born into hardship and affected by polio, but found solace in art, turning pain into beauty. Despite numerous obstacles, he became a celebrated artist through resilience and creativity. His appreciation for Sufi wisdom revealed the universe's mysteries to him. He's also a prolific poet and playwright with international acclaim. He believes that Sufism is an advanced and more comprehensive version of manifesting self-awareness techniques. Self-awareness, who knew? We need more of that in this world. No more victimhood, folks. Let's stop that. One does not need to follow a specific religion to understand and apply the methods and tools described in his book to embark on the path of Sufi personal transformation. All the methods outlined in the book are non-denominational. And if you're a fan of Rumi's wisdom, you'll love Whispers of the Flight. We'll get into what that means. Inam, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you so much for inviting me again, Chris. I'm really grateful, honored to be on your show, and I'm really doing great.
There you go. We're honored to have you, and I'm glad you're doing great. Give us the .coms. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm going to give you maybe 3 .coms. One is my art website, which is mostly used by everybody all around the world, which is inamgallery.com, INAMGALLERY.com. Mm-hmm. The website for the book is Whispers of the Flight, as the name of the book.com. And my life coaching website is elevatelife.guru, GURU.
There you go. So your book was released on August 16th. It's been a few weeks since. How's things been going?
Well, things are better than I expected. The book has been selling at one of the top 2% of Amazon list. First week, it was the top #1 book on Amazon in 3 categories. So I'm very excited. I was not expecting this kind of a success. It's doing extremely well.
Congratulations.
I'm very happy about it, and it's continuing to do well. And I think some success you can claim, Chris, because your first release of the show definitely had something to do with it too.
I'll claim all of it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure that there's other people out there. So yeah, it's people should go back and listen to that episode from last month. Just put in INAM. You should be able to pick Inam's name up and in the search bar of the Chris Voss Show. And, of course, most of you listen to the show. 96% of the people listen to the show all the way through. So you probably may have heard it, but go back and listen to it again. That or order up the damn book already. So one thing we talked about last time was your life coaching. And tell us more about what you do, what specific methods you use, and what's unique to your practice versus others.
Well, I'm going to start with a little history. Okay, I'm very much involved with the local communities here in the Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Primarily involved with helping out single moms, orphanages, kids needing help, the teenagers who get into trouble and needing help, advisors, and keeping them on the path. I've been doing it for the last 20 some years on a
Mm-hmm.
just private basis, just going and volunteering myself with different organizations. And so that accumulated, that gave me the knowledge base, the database of common problems that people face and issues that people face. And I'm talking about all sorts of issues, from childhood to people at even at 90 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
So I've dealt all of them in the last 20 years or so. um, and since I used to do a radio program like yourself and a TV program, people knew me, and they used to call me for advice online, and then it started happening on the phone, they started happening face to face. So I gathered a lot of experience myself. Then I decided recently to, maybe I should go back and get certified as a life coach and do this professionally and
Mm-hmm.
offering my services to the people because of all the knowledge that I have gained. And my practices are a little traditional. I'm not a medical professional, so I don't get involved in any of the medical stuff. I'm not a certified therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a PhD in the field, so I don't get involved with that kind of a service. But what I do get involved is pure life coaching. And that involves common sense coaching to begin with, to give people the level of comfort that they open up with me and talk to me. And then, based on my experience and experiences of multiple people that I have interacted with in the past 20 years, I share with them what has been successful and what has not been successful. Now,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's unique, and their own issues are, they have their own issues to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
uh, but in majority of the cases, there are similarities, there are patterns, and they do work out very well. But I even go beyond that and apply certain techniques that I have learned through different people, certain masters, reading books, going to seminars, gaining my own insight. Is to go a little bit holistic in my approach in the life coaching side of the business. For
There you go.
example, I definitely use spiritual healing,
Mm-hmm.
as my book is nothing but a spiritual inner cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
So there are methods that help people out, and regardless of what religion you follow or you don't follow a religion, spirituality is something that I would say 90% of the people believe in, and they can relate to it. So I
Mm-hmm.
definitely use spirituality as a tool because I have tremendous amount of experience in that field, following the Sufi methodologies, and I'm trained in different other techniques also coming from South Asia, like India and all that too.
Mm-hmm.
So I combine that. I even combine aromatherapy into my
Mm-hmm.
teachings. I even combine, techniques that work with me, by the way, was like weighted blanket. People who sometimes go through anxiety in such a way that they are not they're kind of afraid of the world, for example. And I went through that process myself in one part of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and the weighted blanket technique helped me tremendously.
Wow.
uh, I've been a student of Jose Silva. I
Mm-hmm.
have been certified in Silva technique. I'm a true believer in his teachings, and certain techniques, very small techniques that he has taught, do work very well. For example, the water glass technique. You drink a glass of or a couple of sips of water before you go to bed at night with an intention, and in many cases, you'll be surprised at how um, easily those intentions become a reality in your life
Really?
if you apply those techniques. So I apply all those things. Of course, meditation, generic meditation helps. I always tell my clients that I'm not a medical profession, that exercise on a regular basis helps a whole lot.
Oh yeah.
And that takes care of a lot of anxiety and a lot of other issues that people can control, depression,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps out. So I always tell and exercise myself too as a result of that, because it helps me out. Even cross boundaries, and if I see a person having interest in art. So I suggest go take dancing lessons and even
Oh.
dance at home alone, listen to the music alone. And
Ah.
that has helped tremendously to, many people. And of course, we do overall visualization techniques also. So these are all the different techniques that I utilize in my holistic life coaching experience, in addition to creating a foundation first, making sure that I understand to the best of my knowledge what the issue is on the table and how we can resolve these issues. And some of the techniques work in some cases, and some techniques work in some other cases.
There you go. Definitely good stuff there to make everything work. Now, your origin story. Let's go to that and
Yeah.
talk about how you grew up. I think what really struck me from our last interview was, how you discovered art that changed your life and has made your life, I think, great through adversity. So tell us a little bit about how you grew up and how you went down that journey.
Absolutely, Chris. I was born in South Asia in Pakistan, and before I became 1 year old, I was infected with polio,
Mm.
and of course it affected heavily on my right leg. And when I was at the age of walking, like 2 years old, my right foot was 45 degrees angle, and my uh, knee was about 15 degrees twisted. So I was able to walk, but with a lot of difficulty. And
Hmm.
that's how I grew up. And when I turned 5 years old, of course, I was mentally all fine. So I had to go and get admitted to a normal average school.
Hmm.
And kids can be brutal,
Oh yeah.
and so I was facing all the adversity, all the issues, going to the school and being called so many different names.
Isn't that
And
horrible?
above all, it was all boys school, and above
Hmm.
all, I was not able to play or take part in any of the sports activities because of my drawback.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that was a huge issue for a 5-year-old child,
Hmm.
and you felt inferior, you felt you lose your confidence, and you start building a personality which is not very positive. You can't build something positive on that kind of a foundation.
Hmm.
But my good luck that my art teacher identified me as someone who's sitting in the corner and not being very happy with life. So she took me to the art room one day, and she said, would you spend the time when the kids are outside playing learning how to draw and paint? And I said, I
Hmm.
would love to do that. And that was, I had no option. I mean, I had to say yes, right?
Yeah.
So I had no idea whether I was able to draw or paint. I was 5 years old. And she started teaching me on a daily basis, 5 days a week, and lasted, Chris, for 5 years.
Wow.
So by the time I was 10, I was drawing portraits with pencils on a piece of paper like any other professional artist would do.
Wow.
So that gave me the foundation of the art on a daily basis that I actually needed to gain confidence, to face the adversity, to find a solace, to find a spot where I excelled, where others did. And all the credit goes to that teacher. And I can never repay her.
Did you
And
ever have you ever seen her since? Did she see you become a successful artist, or did you ever follow up or bump into
I
her again?
I was always in touch with her. I was always
Mm-hmm.
in touch when I went to high school. I was
Mm.
always in touch with college. I came to the US in 1984 as a student for my master's, and I was in touch with her at that time too. She was the first one to receive my phone call when I finished my MBA and all that. And 3 years after that, she passed away.
Oh wow.
And I did attend. I was able to fly back and attend her funeral because she was like my second mother, who really gave me all the confidence in the world that I needed, basically,
Mm-hmm.
to proceed further. So that's something that I just can't repeat. I'm still in contact with her family members, her kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like my brothers and sisters. And so after that, I didn't do professional art, never did professional art until then.
Mm-hmm.
I was first exposed to oils and canvases for the first time in the US. And frankly speaking, I was not even able to afford canvases and oils growing up in Pakistan.
Oh, wow.
And I found my job after my finishing my MBA required travel to primarily to Eastern Europe, and that's where I saw the prettiest birch trees in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with those trees. I started painting those trees. I started as a portrait artist. I did all sorts of art. I did seascapes, I did abstract work, I did landscape, I did everything. And I still do, I mean, whenever there is a need. But now I'm known throughout the world as a landscape artist who uses a lot of texture on a very thick canvas. So if you see my painting from the side, Chris, it's at minimum half an inch thick or sometimes an inch thick with paint.
Holy crap, that's a lot of paint.
That's a lot of paint, and
It's a
that's
lot of
my
Bob
forte.
Roth going on there.
That's my forte, and you're gonna laugh at this that oil paint is not easy to play with. You know,
Oh, I'm
it
sure.
takes a couple of months to dry. And
Oh, really?
since 80% of what I do goes to Europe, I had to fold the canvases to ship, and
Mm-hmm.
it will break in shipment too. So I
Oh,
was
wow.
looking for a medium that I can mix with oil to make it thicker and harder and stronger. I tried everything in the world that they manufacture in the industry. Nothing worked perfectly for me. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I was at Home Depot and I saw a lot of sawdust on the ground. And I said, let me try sawdust mixing it with oils.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mixed it up with oil at 40-60 ratio. And I cannot tell you how that day how happy I was
Wow.
because A, the painting dried in 2 days,
Mm-hmm.
and B, I was able to roll it up in 1 week and ship it to Europe. And I've been doing it for 20 years, and not a single piece has been returned as a cracked piece since then.
Wow. And it probably creates some unique textures and
It
stuff,
does.
maybe?
It sure does.
Mm-hmm.
It creates a thicker texture. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud to say, and I use this line all the time in my exhibitions, that I'm proud to put nature back in the nature.
Ah, I like that. Nature back in the nature.
Right.
The and your paintings are usually of nature. So
That's correct. It's all
there you go.
landscapes. It's primarily all landscapes. I take commission work for all of the,
Mm-hmm.
seascapes too, portraits too, but it's maybe less than 5% of my work. But
Mm-hmm.
95% is all landscapes, basically nature work.
There you go.
Yep.
But I love your story, your origin story, your hero's journey, and that's just so great. And I think we highlighted this a little bit last time you were on, but talking about how important it was that someone took interest in you and cared about your potential and your journey, and changed your life. I mean, there's so many times where people help each other out and they don't realize that sometimes that can be one of the greatest things that you can change someone's life. I cited in my book 2 or 3 stories where someone changed my life and they changed it. I mean, I shudder to think what life would be like if it had not been for these just moments, these blips of influence that were. I mean, they literally took my life and turned it at 180 around, and I can't imagine what my life would be like without their influence. And so, I think I just love your story that woman took interest in you, taught you art, and here you found this great outlet for yourself that inspires and helps other people.
That's true. And the moment that you are referring to, Chris, I believe in there are no coincidences. I believe in the fact that the universe works with you, feels you out, and provides an opportunity, people, conditions, environment, timing, where you basically meet with the resolution or the solution that changes your life. And that's my moment was that moment when I was sitting in the corner of that classroom, very sad, not being able to do anything. I used to wear those shoes, if you remember, like in Forrest
Oh yeah,
Gump.
like Forrest Gump, the
Yeah,
ones,
with
the
the
rails that
rails
were
on the
on the
side.
legs and
Yeah,
stuff. My sister used to wear those. Who was born with cerebral palsy.
right, right.
Yeah, they're not fun to deal with when
They
you're
are not
around.
fun to deal
They're
with.
not. They
Yeah,
clank and they're heavy and back then they were probably all steel too.
They
I know
were
my
steel.
sister's was, and so I think now they probably can make them with something lighter. But
That's true.
yeah, it's a challenge. So you come through this, and now you can inspire other people. You can influence other people through the help that someone else gave to you, and so off you go. Off
That's
you
true.
go.
I'm sure that I was probably not born like this,
Hmm.
with all these feelings and whatever I do for others. It was her teachings, and it was not that she was teaching art only. She was implanting certain seeds,
Yeah.
in my heart, and my parents were like that too. Like my parents also promoted certain feelings in me that we used to buy lunches at the cafeteria in the school,
Hmm.
and they would give me twice the money because they were able to afford that to buy lunch, and they would always say that you find a kid who cannot afford, buy the lunch for him too.
Your parents did that. Wow,
Yeah, right from the beginning.
that is
And
amazing.
so you build these things in your heart and your mind that you're not alone in here. You're part of,
Hmm.
it's one thing that you're part of, and if you're taking care of someone else, is actually taking care of yourself. So
Hmm.
these experiences changed my life totally. Now I'm part of UNICEF. I'm part of Bill and Linda Gates Foundation, Rotary Club. I
Wow.
go out and speak on behalf of these organizations for the polio eradication programs all throughout. And there are only 2 or 3 countries left where this polio exists now,
Hmm.
and still exists, and hopefully it will go away in the next 5 years with all the efforts. So I actively work in the local communities also. All this is not me. It's all this is the teachings of my teachers and my parents who implanted these seeds in my heart, which is producing fruits today.
There you go. And now you coach people with your work and help them achieve their goals and stuff. How can people onboard with you on your website or interact with you? How do they onboard and see if they're a fit for you and some of your programs that they can review?
Sure, we go through an onboarding and making sure that I am a fit for them,
Hmm.
and that process. The best thing is to go on my website, which is elevatelife.guru
Hmm.
is the website, and people can go on that website. There's a form, a detailed form. Unfortunately, I have to see just to make sure that if I'm the right fit for them or not.
Hmm.
So I go through all that, and I don't entertain 2 clients per day. That's all. I don't take
Hmm.
more. It's not My purpose is not to make money out of it. My purpose is to give proper, dedicated, focused time to everyone. We say an hour long session, but a lot of times it ends up in 2 hours and two and a
Oh,
half
wow.
hours or whatever. So that's okay with me. But I want to
Hmm.
make sure that I find the person that I can bring some value to. And if I don't, then I do recommend that person to other people who can actually benefit them.
There you
So
go.
again, the website is elevatelife.guru, GURU,
Hmm.
and your listeners are more than welcome to go on there if they have a need. I'll be more than happy to evaluate.
There you go. And looking over the website, you've got your life coach, you've got the process there. They can schedule an appointment, and I just love how you're paying it forward, helping people where they need the inspiration like you did. They can sign up for a free consultation, I guess, a 30-minute Zoom
Absolutely.
consultation.
There
Is
is
that
a free
correct?
consultation first, and that happens after I read the form, make sure they're a good fit, and then I call up and say, okay, let's have a free consultation first. Because then they'll have to be happy with me too.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a match of chemistry between me and them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not from my side only, it has to be from their side also. And
Yeah.
if that happens, then that produces better results.
There you go. Did you write the book to promote your life coaching business, or is it just kind of an add-on?
No, no, absolutely not. I mean, it's a funny story also there is that I had because of polio, my whole structure of the body it has a lot of issues. It's
Mm-hmm.
not only the age, Chris, it's there's a lot of mileage too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I had
feel you
my
on that one.
I had my left knee replaced, and unfortunately, I developed what they call DVT, the blood clots in my arteries or veins
Oh no.
in my left leg, and it was a very painful process for me for about 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of bedridden,
Mm-hmm.
and I read my books, books a lot, and but I was looking for a good read, a good read, something different, and my youngest son, who is also a good reader or regular reader, brought me a very thick, heavy, but beautifully illustrated book because I like art. I'm an artist.
Mm-hmm.
For me to have a look at it, and it was an English translation of a Persian poem written 900 years ago by a Sufi philosopher known as Fariduddin Attar.
Mm-hmm.
Rumi actually spent some days with him learning few things from him as a child when Rumi was only 10, 12 years old. And that original poem is 4,600 verses long.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this book, English translation, was a summary of that poem. When I read that book, I was completely blown away with the concepts, the theories behind the book,
Mm-hmm.
and I clearly saw a path for me and for others that if I follow the teachings in the book, then I can have a much happier and healthier life. So I started to learn more and to study more because I don't speak Persian language. I don't understand. So I retained a professor of Persian language and learned from her for 6 months, understand all the details of it. And then I said, if I write another translation, it has been translated into 80 different languages. It's not going to hold any value and nobody's going to read.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to write a book that everybody can read, a novel with a story attached to it, bringing the story to America,
Mm-hmm.
to for the people like my own kids can read. So I ended up writing a simple novel, but
Mm-hmm.
inserting all the teachings of Attar as written in this poem into the novel. So as the readers read the novel, they enjoy the novel, the story, the characters. At the same time, they get the messages embedded in the book so that they can go through an inner cleansing process and hopefully become a better person or a transformed person when they finish off the novel.
There you go. And you painted the book cover yourself, so that
Yes, I
has
did,
your
sir.
artwork right on there.
That's true, as you can see behind me too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very proud of it. It came out extremely well. I wanted to stay true to the subject because the original poem is about the birds.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey of the birds. The 30 birds reach the destination. I don't want to go into the details of all that, but it's a story of the birds basically. And the English version of the poetry is called "The Conference of the Birds,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's why it's known in the if you may, in the book industry, the poem. So I wanted to stay true to the concept, to the poem, and that's why I ended up drawing or painting. It's oil actually on canvas, the painting which I use as the cover, and I've received enormous amount of compliments of the book cover because if you go back and read even the comments people have written on Amazon after purchasing the book and reading the book. They have mentioned about the book, of course, but at the same time, they have mentioned that they have not seen a prettier book cover than this before. So I'm honored.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Well, it's a great story, a great lesson, et cetera, all that sort of good stuff. So, what's the future hold for you? Is there more books coming on the horizon? You going to focus on the coaching? Anything new coming up you want to plug?
I'm definitely focusing on coaching. There is no doubt about that. I would like to because this professional coaching is new to me, just few months old. Before that, I was doing all ad hoc, on the pro bono basis, and I'm not charging a whole lot even when I'm doing it professionally. Um, but I would like to focus on that. I already have ideas for the next 4 books, but
Mm-hmm.
I have not started writing. Just for the second book, I have done the basics, which is about 20 pages or so, the table of contents, what I have in my mind, an intro and stuff like that. But hopefully, maybe in the next 12 months or so, I might be able to finish up that book also. And
There you go.
hopefully, I'll be back on your show again then.
Yeah, we'll have you on for the other book, and we'll just keep rocking. So this has been fun to have you on. Your story is so inspiring, Enum. People just love it, and they'll love the book. Give people the .coms you want them to check out as we go out, and where they can pick up the book.
Sure. I mean, the best thing is you can go on Amazon and just type in Inam, or which is INAM. You can type in the name of the book, Whispers of the Flight. You can type in the category, which is spiritual self help, and you will get to this book. There are three versions of the book available on Amazon right now, which is uh, e Kindle version, paperback, and hardcover. I'm hopeful my publisher is a bit late on the Audible version, but we should be
Mm,
able to upload that within 2 weeks from today. So by the time hopefully your show is up, that fourth version will also be available on it.
there you
But
go.
quickly, if you give me a minute, I want to add one
Mm-hmm.
more thing regarding the book is that, you know, the book is book, and I've mentioned that it's a novel based on what, but I really want your audience to know that if they end up reading the book, what will they take home as a message, or what kind of transformation they might actually go through this. So there are multiple messages in the book, but there are
Mm-hmm.
four distinct messages, if you allow me to end with that.
Please do.
The number one is that the book tries to teach that life is all about the journey and not the destination.
Mm,
That we always forget. We try to hit so hard on the destination that we lose the flavor or the enjoyment of the journey. Sometimes, like the story of Lord of the Rings, for example, right? The hero the whole story is so successful, so beautifully written, is about the journey of the hero. It's not about the destination. So that's the number one message that people will take, but will take it in a different way, the Sufi way, the Sufi approach, how the Sufi methodology teaches that. The
mm,
number one is that the book teaches you how to stay calm in life, giving when we give too much focus on outward world, on the toys, and spending 16 to 18 hours of work and making as much money as possible, which is not a bad thing to do. I'm not against making money. But what happens is that we, at the same time, we have to go through an inner cleansing process also. I mean, for example, there is a level of physics, Newtonian physics, all the laws we are aware of, they work. But there is a new form of physics that people discovered in the last few decades, which is the quantum physics, which
mm.
looks inside subatomic level. It has its own world, and that world apparently is much larger than the world that we see.
Ah,
Similarly, the book also teaches you how to look inside at the subatomic level and discover yourself to reach to the level of satisfaction that the outer world cannot provide you. And you will experience that if you read that book.
there you
Number
go.
third goal is that it also teaches the importance of self-awareness. As the Socrates once said, that know yourself. That's the first step in life. A sane person, an adult should do is to know yourself, who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And he believed that understanding yourself is the key to all
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. And the book teaches that also, that how you can go about and find a method that will help you to discover yourself, your reason for your existence in this universe, not only in this world, in this universe. And lastly, the most important message that the book tries to give you is the importance that we are all part of the same universe and this cosmic unity.
Mm-hmm.
And it can influence the sense of belonging, sense of harmony, and be, and a strong belief that you're not alone in this world. And that's a huge thing, especially in the Western world.
Mm-hmm.
That why Rumi is the most read writer in the West is because he provides you a spiritual help in such a way that you don't feel alone. And the book also provides you the same thing, basically to find the unity with the universe, and how you can go and find yourself entangled with the universe and aligned to the others. So these are the four distinct messages that the book gives you. And hopefully, at the end of this, it transforms a person, and hopefully some of the people, if not all.
There you go. Well, it's been fun to have you on, Inam. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your wisdom on the show.
Thank you, Chris.
There you go. Thanks so much for tuning in. Order up his book wherever fine books are sold. Give me the title. I've closed that. Oh, there it is. The title of the book is called
Whispers of the Flight.
Whispers of the Flight. There you go. Too many tabs on the Chris Voss Show. Browser. I'm one of those people that I have a tab addiction. Like yesterday, I started running out of tabs. I'm like, where's that tab I just opened? And because I had too many on Chrome, it was like overflowing, I guess, to space. So there you go. Inam, thanks for coming on the show. Check out the book, folks, Whispers of the Flight, wherever fine books are sold, out August 16th. And be sure to refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.